Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back as we're going to take a look at the Aries Equinox happening on March 20th, 2026 at 10:46 a.m. That's Eastern Time, so be sure and adjust for your location. So here is the full chart that I wanted to bring into view before we dive in, just so you can see where the planets are lining up and where there's a focal point of energy. But I am going to adjust this so that we can look at where there's most of the energy, which will cut out some of the chart. There we go. So with this Aries equinox, it means that the sun has entered into Aries, the very beginning of the astrological wheel. This is also International Astrology Day, the spring equinox. It's also Ostara. And in addition to all of these developments here in Aries, Mercury also stations direct on the same day, March 20th this year. So we'll discuss that as well, because that is important, especially Mercury conjunct the North Node. But back to the sun at 0 degrees of Aries, which is a world point. The world points are very significant in astrology, and there's 4 of them that occur at the beginning of each season. The beginning of Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, and Libra season. Then we also have world points at 15 degrees of each of the fixed signs. So overall, there's 8 world points in a chart. I do have a separate video for you here on YouTube discussing more about world points, but essentially it means the energies are more significant and influential at a global level. And this is a world point that's already been active, as we had the Saturn-Neptune conjunction here at 0 degrees of Aries back on February 20th. So this means that as Aries season begins, the sun brings its warmth, consciousness, light, and energy field into the new beginnings. It actually started back in February, and now we see things in a new way. And we're meant to grow with the developments that are unfolding, and to also be aware of how it's personally interacting with our energy fields and with our own personal journeys of self-actualization, independence, courage, new starts, and the beginnings that are being presented now that have not showed up before. As you can see, we have 6 planets here in Aries: the Sun, Neptune, Saturn, Venus, the Moon, and Chiron. We also have Eris here that's not on the chart, so you could include Eris as the 7th energy. But essentially this means powerful new beginnings are lining up as the Aries equinox energy begins. And that means you're going to sense that now is the time to move forward. There's energy and support for what you've been dreaming of, Neptune, and wanting to build, Saturn. This is where the energy is concentrated on being very intentional around where you're investing your time, energy, and focus, because there is strength here for powerful developments to unfold based on what you commit to and intentionally choose in Aries season. Now that's because this Saturn at 4 degrees of Aries is making a rare and beneficial sextile to Pluto at 5 degrees of Aquarius. And this is bringing in power, transformation, community, soul tribes, new visions and dreams, a sense of where you want to go, what you want to put your energy into that could even feel much bigger than you. And with the sextile to Saturn in Aries, this is the determination to build it, to have an understanding of resources needed, time, energy, and effort required to make it real. And this aspect is strong here in the equinox chart. It will be exact on March 28th, but it lasts until April 5th. So this is an important energy signature of the equinox. It also means that there's going to be a lot moving forward now that's previously been delayed, stunted, forgotten, or overlooked. Now, when I look at all of these charts in Aries, all these planets in the chart in Aries, they are all ruled by Mars. Mars is in Pisces, where he is being asked to surrender previous experiences, where he's been, what he has grown and developed, what he has become attached to. This is a huge surrender point for Mars that the ego and mind don't welcome at first, until the universe gets louder and the messages are clearer that it's time to let it go. Let something go so that you can move forward into this very clear beginning point that is beautifully supported and is most likely something you want and you've been waiting for. But this Mars, the ego, the self, how you assert your needs and what you go for, is in a state of surrender that he doesn't like, meaning there's a part of you that knows you are deeply shifting and changing into a new version of self that's requiring you to be complete with the previous chapter. And it's only by surrendering that you're going to be able to actually honor the purity of this new start, because I'm seeing the new start as being very vibrant and clear and has a lot of like dynamic energy to it that could bring you to life in a whole new way. It feels uplifting, inspiring, enthusiastic. It's really working with Aries energies through 6 different expressions. But this Mars is realizing at a deep core level what he cannot take, what he cannot carry forward. He has to toss it into the ocean. It has to dissolve. He has to transcend, which is Pisces. You're transcending where you've been, what you've had, what you've been involved in, or whatever the case may be. There's a transcendence here that's necessary at the equinox in order to bring all your energy forward into the new starts. And I'm feeling like there's really beautiful gifts in this Pisces energy, especially when we look at how this Mercury at 8 degrees of Pisces stations direct. That's the S means station. And it's conjunct that north node in Pisces that signals you're receiving the downloads and understandings of what needs to happen, even though you don't know the why or the how, even though you don't have all the details, you don't have the full plan or map, but there's something that you are connecting with that is giving you information around the best responses, communications, ideas, conversations, and messages that you're meant to move forward with. Mercury is actually conjunct the North Node March 17th until March 24th at 8 degrees. So for a week, it's a week of downloads and intuitive insights around something that you're completing and clearing out. This could also be for many of you the divine messages of what you're ready for next that is coming through, and you feel it. You feel it before you see it. And that's how Pisces works. That's how your intuition works. You understand something, you get the heads up or the hint or that intuitive download first, then it becomes evident or clear what it was about. And there's a very interesting dynamic going on here because Mars is in Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is in Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. They are in what's called mutual reception. They're in each other's home turf. And And this won't happen again for another 2 years. And so what we have is this Mars playing cleanup crew for the old version of you, the old life, the old places, the old whatever that you're clearing out, dissolving, and transcending away from. Mars is saying, I'll take care of this. You keep your eyes on the prize. And that Neptune in Aries is saying, yes, I will continue to develop and energetically create this new starting point. I will keep the new dream alive, still in conjunction with Saturn, which is anchoring into the physical material world what these dreams are. And then the sun is here, bringing it to light, helping it grow and develop. The sun moves at 1 degree a day, creating a journey of consciousness through the full zodiac wheel. And so this is an important turning point because the sun is moving into the growth and rebirth cycle of Aries season, growing a new dream and helping to anchor it in that is going to bring about empowering transformation, strength, and growth that's really significant. And this chart, the equinox chart, lasts for 3 months until the sun gets to 0 degrees of Cancer, which is the summer solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere, and is the next turning point into the next season. So this chart is for 3 months. So here you have a 3-month planning guide that this is going to be a powerful chapter of beginnings, co-creations, rebirth in your life. And it feels like this Mars is divinely placed to ensure that, again, you're moving ahead, you're not going backwards. Although this Mercury could be bringing things to your attention that have been previously hidden, unknown, behind the scenes, secrets. This is that Mercury bringing something to your conscious awareness. That North Node signifies fated conversations, things that are meant to be seen and discussed now, even simply in the higher realms, where maybe it's you're having an important conversation with your soul, with your intuition. You're getting important downloads that matter and that are also helping you understand the path ahead in a whole new light. So the Pisces and Aries energies in your chart are very strong, whatever house or houses you have this lineup. Also important to note that this Mars, again, the ruler of the Aries equinox and of all 6 planets, Mars is receiving a beneficial trine from this Jupiter at 15 degrees of Cancer. That trine is flowing in with more deeper understandings of what you've been holding, repressing, and emotionally working through. This is the release valve to put something into motion, to move it through your body. So if you had anything stuck emotionally in yourself, if you have been frozen, if you have felt numb, if you have felt uncertain, if you have even felt that there's parts of your emotional body that have been wanting to grow, this is an Aries equinox that also supports that. And this Jupiter is also squaring Venus there at 17 degrees. So it's interesting because this Jupiter is working with both Mars and Venus and supporting the growth and emotional integration of something you've been holding and processing that could be from the past. These are remembrance codes. I did a podcast for you on this Jupiter stationing direct at 15 degrees of Cancer because it is conjunct Sirius. galactic heart, like it's bigger than this lifetime. The emotional waves and emotional undercurrents, they're very strong here. And so there's meant to be movement that moves you forward from the past. And as this Mercury stations direct, all planets will be direct until May 6th, when Pluto will station retrograde. So this is an interesting turning point at a number of levels. It's the turning point into a new season. It's a world point of amplified energies, especially conjunct Neptune. Turning point for this Mercury. The shift is going to be deeply felt. And I feel that this conjunction with Neptune is that there's new spiritual energies and frequencies arriving onto the planet that are going to start to become more evident and felt, and also more energized. There's a new spiritual awakening happening since late February. And it's activating us each personally, but it's activating through a strong response. In Aries, that can be impatience and anger. That can be a sense of ready for change, ready to do something new, to pioneer and strike out on your own. And we're going to be seeing that on the global stage even more. There's also going to be more revelations around what has been hidden that will now be viewed. And that's going to continue to come to light as Saturn moves away from Neptune, and Saturn brings more evidence forward. This energy also supports how we are becoming more spiritually integrated in our self-identities and ways of life. That we are owning and honoring more of our intuition, artistic energies, imagination, psychic abilities. We are working with more of our multi-sensory capabilities and understanding that we have access to so much more than just our 5 physical senses. And so I feel this is also the birth, or rather supporting the birth, of the next level spiritual human that operates with greater energetic mastery and awareness. That you're aware of what you're creating, how you're using your energy, what your intentions are before beginning. And that would be a very important message here, especially with Saturn and Aries, is what are your intentions for yourself? What are your intentions for what you're choosing and deciding for your actions and behavior? Saturn in Aries is going to require that we stay connected to those intentions, that we stay aware of not only what we're doing it, but how and why. Venus in Aries is bringing your attention to your self-confidence, to who you are, that allows you to show up as yourself, feeling strong in your independence and authenticity. This is a pioneering spirit, maybe seeking to do something on your own in a whole new way. The moon in Aries brings your attention to what drives you every day. At an unconscious level, it could be what you're trying to prove, what you're trying to obtain. This energy can be quite competitive, but I feel that as that moon in Aries actually gets closer to Chiron, there's a deeper questioning of what's it really about? What do I really want? Is this really who I am? Because Chiron is going to bring up messages that remind you of who you've been becoming, like what you have healed or what you have experienced that has redefined that Aries sense of self. And so that's going to relate directly to the moon, because you see they're conjunct here. And the moon is your emotional nature and what you seek that feels good. The moon in Aries can be quite unconscious and seek immediate gratification. But if there is a willingness to slow down, which actually happens with the moon conjunct Chiron, there's a slowdown here. There can be a greater understanding of what you're creating and what you're moving towards that you didn't first understand, that you didn't see initially. So with all these planets in Aries and then the 3 planets and points here in Pisces, you could be feeling that the shifts are working with you more personally, guiding you to create what you want next, while also remaining aware of your intentions and where you've been, so that you're not repeating a cycle that the planets in Pisces are supporting you in releasing and closing out. This is also the last month of Uranus and Taurus, as Uranus will move into Gemini April 26th and stay there until 2033. And so this Uranus in Taurus is going to be shaking up and rattling what needs to collapse, what perhaps has just been hanging on by a thread. This Uranus is going to be continuing to show us over the next month what we really value, what we really need, and what's essential and what is not. So that's important because of how Uranus is in its final month in Taurus. So overall, there is a burst of energy with the Aries Equinox that will last for 3 months until the solstice. And it is a time of standing strong and clear in your new sense of self and what you are, again, creating next and intending to begin. You might even feel, again, there's more support, and there's even things lining up faster than you expect, coming together at a lightning quick speed, aligning and syncing up, especially anything that has been operating behind the curtain or below the surface that now bursts through and is presented very clearly and evidently with that fiery gusto of Aries season. And so in your own chart, you would look at where you have 0 degrees of Aries, and then where you have basically all these planets in Aries. It could be in one house, like this is all in the 11th house, or it could be spread out across a few houses in your chart. And that would show you where there's energy now coming through for these beginning points. And it could also show you how to make the most of it at this time. Now I'll have some videos for you coming up further discussing Saturn sextiling Pluto. We'll go into that a little bit more. And then I'll also have for you a video describing the Libra full moon, which will be on April 1st and 2nd. So as always, thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope it helps you plan accordingly for the Aries Equinox, as well as to show you where you're ready to say yes, where you feel that passionate, clear, yes, I want this, I'm ready, let's go. That's the energy that's coming through very strongly here. And that means it's time. So wishing you beautiful blessings as you move into the new changes that this cycle is going to bring. And I'll be back with another video for you shortly. As always, I so appreciate your comments, your thoughts, sharing what you're experiencing and what is coming up for you, because it could be exactly what someone else needs to read or understand. So thank you for being a community of such bright wisdom, such great information, and it's a joy to connect with you here. Take good care, and I'll see you back here soon.